Quick play.
Hello and welcome to Quick Play. My name is Joe and I'm back and in a much better mood because I'm not recording Quick Play on Sonic Advance anymore. We're going to be talking about Kirby Dream Course for the SNES, but we'll get to that more in a minute. So first and foremost, I'm here to thank our Patreons. Those of you at the Hero Tour, thank you for your support and just allowing us to do all this. And you get exclusive goodies like this, Quick Plays, with the schmuck of Retrotopia. But if you somehow stumbled upon this and missed all the other stuff, you can find all of that over at the Linktree. That's linktr.ee/Retrotopia. There, you can get access to all our socials, access to the Discord, which is just a fun group of people on the internet, and I highly recommend jumping in there if you haven't already, honestly. There's also, obviously, links to our other shows and merch. Check out all the amazing stuff Brian's designed, the guys have had input. There's some pretty cool stuff over there, and I highly recommend checking it out. And with all the intro stuff out of the way, let's talk about Kirby Dream Course. It was developed by HAL Laboratory, published by Nintendo for the SNES. It was actually the first Kirby game to show up on the SNES before, I think Kirby Superstar was after that. Anyways, whatever. It was the first one on the SNES, that's kind of neat. It was released in Japan on September 21st, 1994, and in North America on February 1st, 1995. Alright, so this is probably going to be a much shorter review because there's not a lot of game here per se, but what's here is really fun because this game is a Kirby mini golf game and it's kind of a ton of fun actually. And thank you for joining us today. Once again, you can check out all our stuff on the Linktree. And I'm just fucking with you guys. But it's not going to be that short, but this is going to be a shorter episode. So first things first, the plot of this story is pretty bare bones. It's your typical Kirby story. Kirby's hanging out, King Dedede ruins some stuff. I think specifically in this one, the stars in the sky are all jacked up. And Kirby just goes out as a golf ball to try and fix it all. So this game has two major game modes. Obviously, there's a single player where you just kind of go through a quote-unquote story. It's just 8 courses. Each course has 8 holes within it. And you get through all those to fight the final boss. Yes, there's a final boss in a Kirby mini-golf game. But whatever. We'll get to that later, though, on the review. So you have this single-player mode, and then there's also a 2-player multiplayer mode where you obviously just go against each other, fight against a friend. Do you fight in minigolf? Compete. There you go. That makes more sense. You compete against a friend, and you see who can knock their balls around the best. But obviously, I don't have any friends to play that with, so this review is just going to focus on the single-player mode. So you start off on the first course. Obviously, first course, first hole. Kirby gets dropped in, and what your goal is to pretty much clear out all the enemies on the board. And as you're doing that, they disappear. They technically turn into stars, but they do nothing, just pretty much marking where you defeated them. But it's interesting because as you take them out, you need to be strategic because the very last enemy left actually becomes the hole that you're supposed to hit Kirby into. Which, yeah, I should probably explain how you do that. So you control Kirby, and pretty much all you do, you get your lay of the land, you aim where you want Kirby to go, you cycle between 3 power modes, like just your regular standard straight shot, your power shot, which is literally the same as a straight shot, but even more powerful, so Kirby will go farther. And you have like a chip shot where you kind of hit Kirby up just so you can like get over hazards or certain ramps and everything and get them right in position where you want them to be. I'm not gonna lie, one of the most satisfying things in this game is like on the last after you've defeated all the enemies and all that's left is the hole, is to chip shot Kirby in, like essentially just get like a swoosh essentially. It's far more satisfying to do that than just like, hit Kirby in normally. But you can do that. It's what I would call a standard golf game power system. You press A once and your power meter will start going up and down. Pretty much, lower power, higher power. And then you press the button again and that locks in what power you're hitting at and it just goes. So pretty much, make sure your shot's lined up. You stop the power meter exactly where you want it. Additionally, you can also add like curve left and right to your shots to, get around other obstacles or, circle into multiple enemies. If you do the chip shot too, you can even add backspin or forward spin to your ball. So, if you add backspin, pretty much once you chip Kirby up, he'll pretty much stop on a dime or even go backwards. And if you had forward spin, as soon as he goes up and lands, he'll shoot forward. That's how forward and backspin work, like in anything. But anyways, so that's the general gameplay, and you're just going through level by level, course by course, hole by hole, until you get to that, and pretty much doing that. There's a range of difficulty, but also because it's a Kirby game, you can get copy abilities. So pretty much some enemies have abilities, like obviously the little enemy that's spinning like a tornado gives you the tornado ability. And, spiky enemies give you spiky and etc. And obviously they're just power-ups along the way, which, and they're typically geared specifically for the hole you're on. So, like, for example, like, ice is an ability in this. And if there's a ton of water, the good thing about the ice ability, if you hit Kirby into an ice enemy, you get the ice copy ability, and if you're heading towards water, you can activate that ability. It'll freeze all the water, and you'll literally skate across like an icy, like an icy puck, like a hockey puck, and pretty much avoid all the water hazards. Okay, so the hazards in this are, your basic sand traps. There's spike pits, which, that's another thing too. You actually have health in this and lives and continues. Okay, I'm gonna finish talking about hazards and then I'll go back to that. But yeah, there's spike pits, there's water, and then there's falling off the goddamn map. Because there are barriers around the edge of the map, but not everywhere. So, I kid you not, most of my, losses and game overs in this game were because Kirby just slowly drifted and rolled off the map, and you lose a life because, yes, like I was saying, this game has a life system and a health system. So when you land in a course, or a hole, or whatever, when you land in a level, you're off the hop at full health, and you have 4 hit points and however many lives, like 2 to start off, we'll say. Each stroke you lose a health point, but if you hit an enemy, you gain 1 back. So obviously, if you're hitting an enemy with every shot, you're fine. This isn't a big deal at all. But some of these levels get pretty damn hard towards the end as you're playing through this. And there's a lot of times where I would just game over because I literally ran out of health, lost a life, got to restart that level, and run out of lives, game over, and you got to start the whole course over. So if you're on hole 7 and you game over, you got to go all the way, you got to go back to that course and start hole 1 again and go all the way through. And just for the sake of seeing the end of this, I did kick on cheats just to have unlimited health and continues. I had a lot of holes where it would be like, oh, you got to the hole in 3 strokes, you got to the hole in 2 strokes, you got to the hole in 15 strokes, because there's just some levels that are just vicious and mean. And if you do not hit, Kirby perfectly, it's just going to go sideways real quick. But that's the general of the gameplay. I guess the only other thing, gameplay-wise, that I can mention, I wasn't expecting a golf game to have a literal final boss. So, I was expecting at the end of this game, like, oh, what, do I have to, like, golf around King Dedede or something? And, like, or it would essentially be, like, the two-player mode and I'm, like, competing against him. Nope, you're Kirby, your golf ball Kirby, you're just dropped into a square arena, and there's a giant King Dedede robot. All you are doing is slamming Kirby into this thing. You have no powers, nothing. He's occasionally shooting out little mini robots. All you gotta do is just time your hits to try and avoid those and just keep smashing into them. I didn't even keep count of how many hits it took, but it was pretty anticlimactic because it's just making sure you don't get hit by the small robots as he's like gradually, this giant robot is getting closer to you and just trying to push you off the edge. That's it. But yeah, you just slam Kirby into giant robot Dedede and that's it. You win. The end. It was a really weird ending. It seemed forced. I feel like they could have had a lot more fun with that in the end, like actually competing, playing golf against King Dedede, but you know, whatever. It I don't know. I was looking for a better ending, but it just wasn't there, but I'll get to that when I sum up this thing at the end. Graphics, it looks pretty good. It looks like your general, it looks like any game on the SNES made by, like, first-party developer for Nintendo. It's obviously the Kirby IP. It looks good. It looks like Kirby on the Super Nintendo. The backgrounds to all these... alright, I can explain this a bit more. So, the boards you dropped on are just, like, literally floating in an ether. I like to describe it as, like, the whole board's on a 45-degree angle, essentially. And you're just shooting Kirby all around it. And you just have, like, pretty much like a high-up sky view of this whole thing. So it's just a checkerboard sitting in the middle of an ether and just, like, pretty much fancy backdrops behind it. I'm describing this like shit. Look, just take my word for it. It looks pretty good, but it's nothing that's gonna, like, blow your socks off. But the game genuinely looks good. Alright, shit. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes here for this episode. And I have it broken up, talk about gameplay, talk about graphics, talk about the music. So, I didn't scroll down to my notes earlier. And when I made these, I knew I had to come back to the music. I never came back to the music. So, my notes say, music, you should probably listen to it before you do this episode. I didn't do that. So, you know what? We're going for a little wild ride. I'm a decent editor. I'm pulling up the soundtrack right now. And I will splice in a few seconds of this track as I'm listening to it for the first time. And there, we get to review it together on this quick play. I like to think you're in the seat with me. Alright, so here, Green Fields. I'm pretty sure that's one of the levels. Yeah, alright. God, the Super Nintendo sound... the sound card in the Super Nintendo is great. Yeah, so this is bassy, happy. I mean, what would you expect out of Kirby, though, honestly? I don't want to skip around because I'll never be able to line this up. Oh, there we go. Gets down. Alright. Let me just click another one, Ride to the Sky. Don't know what that is. Alright. This pretty much sounds like your typical Kirby stuff. Yeah, okay. I think I got my fill. Alright. So, it's pretty much your typical Kirby soundtrack. It's chipper, it's happy, it's pretty good. I should really listen to more of it. Man, I wish I listened to more music before I did this review, but you know what? This feels very on brand for me. So, fuck it, I'm gonna leave this in, and we're gonna roll with it. And I'll just do some extra editing. Alright, so, end of the day, this is... It's a fun, chill game. Like, I picked this up. Obviously was looking for something to come off of after Sonic Advance, and I hated it. I'm like, I need to play something that's just gonna put me in a pretty good mood, not be overly taxing, and just having a good time. So yeah, just sitting around, just playing generic Kirby mini golf. I listened to podcasts clearly while I was playing this, but just being able to unwind, just play a nice chill game like this, it's not too daunting. Yeah, there's the couple of holes that will like really, get on your nerves, but you know what? There's no shame in if you're looking for a chill experience to unwind after work or just a long day in general. Screw it. Throw cheats on, relax, enjoy the game at your own pace, and just have a good time. I'd highly recommend this to anyone just looking for that unwind game after a long day. So, end of the day, I'd give this, like, it's not the best game in the world, but it's a good time. And it made me happy. I'm gonna say an 8.7, we'll say. Because I don't want to give it just an 8, because that's like, I feel like it's just a running meme here around at this point. But it's not quite a 9. It's pretty dang close, though. And it's just a good time. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Well, this episode got away from me at the end, so let's start wrapping up here and get out of here before I make it so much worse. Thank you all for listening and checking out this episode of Quick Play. I hope you stuck around and enjoyed it all the way to the end. Check out all of our other stuff over at the Linktree. Check out Retro Bites. It's the show hosted by Brian and myself. We have a good time there. It's been revived, we brought back up from the ashes, and me and him have been having a good time doing that. So check out Retro Bites, check out the main show, New Game Plus, and the After Darks. You guys are Patreon members. You have access to that. Those get interesting real quick, and it's fun to see how the sausage is made sometimes. I'm getting rambly at this point, so I'm gonna get out of here before this becomes like another 30-minute quick play. Alright, bye all.